If you're a leader in your organization, you want to be as successful as you can. But your success doesn't just rest on you and on your efforts, it relies on the efforts of your team. And if your team succeeds, then you succeed. But if your team does not succeed, then you fail. So it's not just you anymore. And that is a big shift going from your efforts lead to your own single success. And going from that to I'm leading a team. And so it's not just me and it's not just what I do that is going to mean my success. It's how successful am I in gathering this group of people and motivating them and inspiring them and leading them and training them and helping them to grow to the place where you need them so that they are successful. And when you can do that and they are successful, then you're successful too. So it requires a lot. But the question is what? What does it require? What are the things that leaders need to be doing and need to actively be doing with their teams so that the team indeed succeeds, so that the individuals on the team succeeds, and then the team comes together and succeeds, and therefore the leader succeeds. It is a lot. And so when we ask what are those things, well, you've got to ask who is it that absolutely has to have high performance? Who is it in our world, in our society, that has to perform at the top levels, or they absolutely fail? And maybe their failure is very public. And almost nowhere else do you find your best leadership lessons than in the world of elite sports. And two of the leaders that really stand out, fine-tuned leadership that really stands out in the world of elite sports, is Patrick Mahomes, the quarterback, and Coach Andy Reid, the coach of the Kansas City Chiefs. And they famously won the 2024 Super Bowl against the San Francisco 49ers in a very big game, a very exciting game. It was one of those absolute nail biters until the very end. And what you saw in that game was what you had seen in so many other games and what you see off the field, and that is exemplary leadership from Mahomes and from Reid. So let's look at three of the lessons that we find if we look under the hood and see what are they doing in their leadership to be sure that the individuals on the team are succeeding, that the team is succeeding, and therefore they, as leaders, succeed. First, most leaders don't get the balance right. And by balance, I mean you've got to leverage people's strengths and you need to be agile about it. There is so much complexity in leadership, there's so many elements to focus on. But two big ones are the team and the tasks. You have tasks that need to be done, and you have a team that's available to do those tasks. So, where does your focus go? Does your focus go more to the tasks? Does your focus go more to the team? Or does your focus go to both? Now, it seems like kind of a silly question because the answer really is our focus does need to be on both. And yet, what you'll find is that most leaders err on one side. Many leaders focus so much on the tasks that the team starves a little bit, but other leaders focus so much on the team that the tasks suffer some. And so the answer is in the balance, and in whatever side you tend to err on is you got to work on the other side. I've worked with very high power leaders who are task focused, and their success suffers because ultimately the individuals suffer, the team suffers because they're not getting the investment from their leader that they need. So a task focus strictly isn't the answer. And of course, the team focus, I work with leaders who do such a great job in engaging the team and in bringing the team in and motivating them and inspiring them. And they feel engaged and they feel like they belong and they feel like they have a voice. And ultimately, because there is so much teaming, there is so much actually over collaboration that the work slows down. And when the work slows down, then you can't work as quickly, you can't work as efficiently. And that is going to lessen the success of the team and of the leader. So the answer is you've got to be honest about yourself. Where do you tend to err on? Which side do you tend to go to more? And then you want to focus on having a balance. It's harder to have a balance. It requires more nuance. You have to know your team, you have to know their strengths, and then you have to strategically design your operations around them. And that's what I mean by agility. It's not just we're so task focused that this is what needs to happen and everyone do it and no complaints. You know, it's more nuanced than that. Certainly, we don't want complaints, but there are people with certain specific skills. And in the 2024 Super Bowl with Patrick Mahomes leading the Kansas City Chiefs, one of the things that he said after that game and after the victory of that game, the major victory of a very, very close and exciting game, one of the things that he said about his coach, about Coach Andy Reid, he said, he brings out the best in me because he lets me be me. And then he actually said, I don't think I'd be the quarterback that I am if I didn't have Coach Reid. So Patrick Mahomes is an extremely skilled, obviously very successful quarterback. For those of you who know the game of American football, but he didn't only take his football career far, he was taking a baseball career far as well. He has skills in many areas. And in football, he has disparate and varied skills. And so Coach Reid was really specific around designing things, designing the work in a way that would leverage those strengths and leverage those skills and help Mahomes to do his best work. And that's the job of a leader, is to say, all right, I have this team member with these specific skills, and I have this team member with these specific strengths. And how can I design things so I leverage the very best of what my team brings and what these individuals bring? That helps them be successful. It helps the team be successful. It helps you be successful. Of course, you don't always just play to their strengths, because we also have to support people in the development of new skills. And that's a big part of leadership. It's just that if it's all about pushing them to new skills, then that gets exhausting. There's the balance again. You have to find that balance of how do I leverage their very best strengths? And then where are the new skills that we could introduce for them to learn and to grow and to strengthen in? That balance is so important. I reported to someone, I had a leader long ago who it was always about the next thing and learning and growth, which is an incredible gift. That was an incredible thing to have. But at some point, I got exhausted, I got burned out, and I felt like I wasn't being seen for the strengths that I already had and the great skills that I already had. And so you want to recognize people for those and find that balance between task and people. And then with task, it's arranging things around their best strengths as well as introducing the learning of new strengths and new skills. It's a lot, the complexities of leadership, but when you can strike these balances and really commit yourself to these nuances of task and people, and then with task, new task, as well as leveraging strengths in existing tasks and existing skills, then you find a magic balance that helps them be successful and helps you be successful. Second, strong leaders know that performance is as mental as it is anything else. When we think performance and we think high performance, we immediately go to skill and we think about, all right, what are the skills that a particular individual contributor has, or what are the skills that they need to grow in, and how can we set up growth plans and reinforcement plans and practice plans to grow those skills so that we can get that high performance. But what we know is that high performance is as mental as it is skillful, especially when there's pressure to perform, especially in those moments where maybe it's very visible, maybe it's in the public, maybe it's in front of the team, maybe it's in front of the executive leadership. But we're asking somebody to do something that's going to be very visible, or that's going to be very high stakes, or that has a lot that's riding on it. And if they have the skills, that's one thing. But if the pressure's there and they don't have that mental capacity to really see it through, and they start doubting themselves, or they think about all the things that could go wrong, that's a recipe for failure. And if they fail, you, as the leader, you fail. In the 2024 Super Bowl, the San Francisco 49ers got a field goal. And then the Kansas City Chiefs got the ball, and it was an extremely, with the eyes of the world on them, very high pressure moment. And Patrick Mahomes, the quarterback, looked at his teammates, and he told them what was about to happen. He told them what was about to happen. And he said, "Come on, we're going to go score." Telling your team what's about to happen, telling your team what they can do, what they can do, telling your team the success they're about to go have, speaking words of positivity, not frivolous positivity, but real positivity based on all of that practice that they've done, based on all of the experience that they've gotten, based on all the preparation that they've done. So, based on all that hard work, speaking words of positivity and encouragement to people make a difference. It sure did for the Chiefs. They went on to win that Super Bowl. And that's what you're looking for from your team. You speak those words of positivity and encouragement into them, they succeed, you succeed. Third, as a leader, you want to succeed. You want your team to succeed. You know that if your team succeeds, then you are succeeding. And so the question is, how do you do that? And what so many leaders don't think about is that I need to do my job not just to my utmost. I don't need to just do my best in my job. I need to do my job in a way that sets other people up for success. So it's this double layer for leaders. Success used to be so simple when they were an individual contributor. And if you're a leader, you are there too. And you know, wow, I only had to think about my own success there. But as a leader now, you need to think about, all right, my success rests on their success. So I need to do my job in such a way that not only sets me up for success, but I need to do my job in such a way that sets them up for success. Patrick Mahomes, quarterback of Kansas City Chiefs, he is famous for throwing beautiful tosses on key drives. And what that has meant for that team is that even when it's a player who's been struggling and has been dropping balls, if they're the one that Mahomes has tossed that ball to, they almost can't not catch it because he is setting them up for success. So, as a leader, you want to ask yourself, how are you setting your team up for success? I have had leaders who brought me in and then early on pushed me to do great things. And the upside of that was I grew really fast. The downside of that was there were some big stumbles on my part because I didn't know how to do certain things and there was no support and there was no training there and there was no leadership there. So, leadership means where is somebody? What do they need in order to succeed? What do they need from me in order to succeed? What can I do to set them up to succeed? That's your question as a leader. And of course, as your team's success is your success, as you think about what you can do to help them to succeed, it's only going to bring your success up more. Leadership is demanding. Leadership takes so much. It takes strength. It takes wisdom. It takes effort. It takes energy. It takes nuance. And it takes always being open to learning more and more to bring yourself up to your next level of leadership. Think about, okay, how can I best leverage the strengths of my team? Certainly help them grow, but how can I also arrange things so their very best strengths are being leveraged? They use their strengths, they feel great about it, they succeed, you succeed. Make sure that you are speaking power and encouragement to them. Don't just let them make up their own mental game of, especially in high pressure and high stakes situations where it's likely they'll start doubting themselves. But you speak power, you speak strength, you speak positivity, you speak encouragement into them, and they're more likely to get that mentality themselves and to go succeed. And then, of course, do whatever you can to put them in a position to succeed. What can you do to help them to succeed the best? You do that, they succeed, you succeed. It's a win win. And people want to run through walls for you and do more for you and go the extra mile for you, which is going to help them succeed more and help you succeed more. It all becomes a really big win win.